Welcome back to the Reading Corner with Mrs. G. For more great stories, subscribe here. And today we have the story of Bambi. It's a golden sound story with sound effects. So Disney's Bambi. It was a beautiful spring morning in the forest. The birds were chirping. And Wise Old Owl was snoring. Suddenly, there was a thumping noise and a happy wake-up cry. Owl opened his eyes and saw a young rabbit grinning. "Hurry, friend Owl, we're going to see the new prince of the forest." Owl followed the rabbit and his friends across a stream to a thicket deep in the forest. There, a newborn fawn lay next to his mother. As the animals watched, the fawn tried to stand up. His knees shook, and he tumbled to the ground. "Kinda wobbly, aren't you?" said the rabbit. The animals laughed. "What are you going to call him?" Owl asked the mother. "Bambi," she said. "My little Bambi." A few weeks later, Bambi left the forest thicket for the first time. He and his mother leaped across the stream, where they met the young rabbit and his family once again. "I'm thumping," said the rabbit. "That's why they call me Thumper." Thumper taught the young prince some new words. One of the words was flower. As Bambi walked among the forest blossoms, he heard someone snoring. It was a baby skunk. Thumper gave his wake-up cry. Wake up! And the skunk looked up at Bambi. "Flower," said Bambi. Thumper and the others laughed. "He can call me Flower if he wants to," said the little skunk, smiling shyly, and that became his name. One day, Bambi's mother took him to the edge of a green meadow. Bambi leaped out into the grass and flowers, but his mother pulled him back. "Always check first to see if the meadow is safe," she said. A moment later, the chirping birds told them the way was clear. Bambi eagerly followed a frog as it leaped across the meadow to a stream. There, he saw a little girl fawn. Bambi was so surprised that his legs got tangled up and he fell into the water. The forest animals laughed. "Hello," said the little fawn, smiling. "My name is Feline." Bambi and Feline spent the afternoon playing in the meadow, leaping over logs and splashing in the stream. The two fawns laughed as they played. Then suddenly the meadow grew quiet, and a handsome deer with tall antlers appeared on a hillside. "Who's that?" Bambi asked his mother. "He is very brave and wise," she said, "and not one deer in the forest has lived so long. He is known as the Great Prince." Looking out over the forest, the Great Prince saw a plume of smoke. Sensing danger, he gave a signal to the animals. "Quick!" cried Bambi's mother. "Run for the thicket!" As the animals hid among the bushes, a shot rang out. Then the birds chirped, and Bambi knew the meadow was safe again. "What happened?" he asked his mother. She looked at him sadly and said, "Man was in the forest." Summer turned to fall and fall to winter. One cold morning, Bambi woke up to find the ground covered with a blanket of white. As he leaped among the snowdrifts, a familiar thumping told him his rabbit friend was nearby. "Look," said Thumper, "the water's stiff." Thumper slid across the frozen pond. "Now you try it." Bambi took one step and his hooves slid out from under him. The two friends laughed. The sound of snoring came from a snowbank. Thumper hurried over and let out a wake-up cry. The snow jiggled and Flower poked his head up out of the snow. "Is it spring yet?" he asked. Bambi and Thumper laughed. "No," they said, "go back to sleep." The cold weather stayed, and soon Bambi and his mother were spending all their time searching for food. One afternoon, his mother stopped and sniffed the air. "It's smoke," she cried. "Bambi, there's danger. Run to the thicket." A shot rang out. Bambi leaped into the bushes and turned to look for his mother, but she wasn't there. Through the smoke, someone appeared at Bambi's side. It was the great prince. "Your mother won't be with you anymore," he said. "Come, my son." Spring arrived at last, and once again Owl was snoring. Bambi, now a young buck, called out to him. Then together he and Owl went looking for their friends Thumper and Flower. They found them at the stream. And as the four animals talked, a pair of birds flew by chirping. "What's wrong with them?" asked Bambi. Owl chuckled. "They're twitter-pated." It can happen to you too. You're minding your own business when you run smack into a pretty face. You get weak in the knees. Your head's in a whirl, and before you know it, you're twitter-pated. "Twitter-pated?" said Bambi. "It won't happen to us." Just then, a pretty female skunk scurried from the bushes and kissed Flower on the nose. Flower took one look and followed her down the path. He was twitter-pated. Next, a little girl rabbit leaped in front of them and made a thumping sound on a log. Enchanted, Thumper thumped right back. He, too, was twitter-pated. "Well, it's not going to happen to me," said Bambi. He stopped to get a drink at the stream and saw a reflection of the most beautiful creature he had ever seen. "Remember me, Bambi?" she said. "I'm Feline." Bambi stumbled and fell into the water. Feline licked his face, and they went leaping into the woods, twitter-pated. Bambi and Feline spent the summer romping through the forest. Then early one autumn morning, Bambi woke to the smell of smoke. The great prince appeared at his side. "There's danger," he told Bambi. "We must go deep into the forest." But when Bambi went back for Feline, he found her cornered by a pack of hunting dogs. Bambi used his antlers to fight them off. Then he and Feline made a break for it. They ran along the stream with the dog pack close behind. Just as the pack was catching up, they came to a ravine that was too wide for the dogs to jump. Bambi and Feline leaped across. As they landed on the other side, a shot rang out. Bambi felt a burning pain in his shoulder. Through a red mist, Bambi heard the voice of the great prince. "Get up, Bambi! Get up!" Bambi struggled to his feet. The forest was on fire. Everywhere he turned, there was danger. Dodging flames, Bambi and the great prince went deeper into the woods. There was a stream and a roaring waterfall. As they stood at the top of the falls, a flaming tree swayed and fell toward them. The two deer had no choice. They leaped over the waterfall and swam downriver. There, on a protected island, they found Feline and the other animals. After the flames died down and the danger had passed, Bambi's shoulder began to feel better. The animals returned to their forest home and began to rebuild. It would take all winter long. Spring came, and with it, new life. The flower buds, watered by the stream, poked up among burnt tree stumps. Soon, the birds were chirping, and the charred forest was green once again. One morning, Owl was awakened from his snoring by the sound of a happy wake-up cry. It was Thumper. Behind him was a row of bunnies, each of them thumping. Flower was there with his children too, and dozens of other animals. "Quick," said Flower. "It's happened. Follow us." Owl flew along behind them to a thicket where Feline lay. Next to her were two tiny fawns. On a ledge, high overhead, standing watch, stood their father, Bambi, the new great prince of the forest. Was that a fun story? All right, we'll see you next time in the Reading Corner with Mrs. G.